Spring is here. Spring is here. And it's the perfect time of year to refresh some of your spaces to make them feel new and exciting. Without spending a fortune, I have 3 really cool and fun little DIYs to freshen up your space in the early parts of spring. Early spring is one of my favorite times of year. Things are waking up, the flowers are starting to bud up, the color starts to come back into the garden, and it fills me with so much energy. I just love it. There is definitely something about the longer days, the more sunshine, and the garden changing and becoming more colorful that really fills my cup. Now, you may have heard me talk about my stash before, and it is always ever changing and ever growing, but sometimes the pieces aren't the right color, aren't quite right for the space that I'm hoping to put them in. So that's where I jump into my DIY side and change things up to make it feel a little bit more like it fits. A fun one is turning baskets into planters without ruining them, and the different color of like the cane can actually be really fun to use and mix it up. The thing is refreshing some cushions with a cheeky little trick I've learned many years ago, and so we'll get into that one in a second. So I'll show you a restyle of part of the living space with a new vase. Everyone, my name's Jade, and this week's video is all about DIY design and styling. So if that is something that is of interest to you, then I would love you to hit that subscribe. I also have a newsletter club. That link is in my description below. I'd love you to pop on over, come and join the little club. I send out newsletters when there is something interesting, fun, new in my world of design, nothing too spammy or crazy. So I realized there's a lot of footage from the 3 DIY ideas and the refreshing things that I have created. So I'll probably jump into a bit of a voiceover. I'll pop back in as I'm sort of editing backwards and forwards. I hope that's okay, because I want to give you the information sort of as quickly and straightforward as possible, and so you can see the end results without having to watch too long of a video. Starting off in the living room, I'm just sort of playing around with the vase. I really like this curved shape and I want it to sit on the piece of travertine. I then went into my color stash of painted A4 sheets, and I just sort of placed a couple of colors as I knew I wanted either like a mustard color or a blue tone to match in with some of the new art that we have recently purchased and hung on the wall. I decided that the mustard was probably the better option to go with a couple of other things. I knew that this was a very short spring color. I went with a color called Centra from Dulux. Then I jumped into the crazy design studio that I have at home and could not find the color. Took me quite a while. Finally found it, gave it a good shake, as I always do. Pop a little bit of color on the outside of your jars. Makes it much easier to find the colors. Set myself up and got painting. This was a bit of a rainy day, so I decided to just sort of listen to a podcast. I gave it a really quick scuff, and then of course jumped into a couple of layers of paint, let it dry, and it actually came out a million times better than I was actually expecting. here the next day and styling this cute little vase up. I love how the color just complements the artwork, and it's so beautiful and warm. It's exactly what this space needed in the early parts of spring with some greenery. I love my little brass bowl next to it from Japan. One of my favorite things. Next is the end of that buffet is this little sort of round table. It does get moved around the house a little bit, but I really like it in this spot with either a vase or of flowers or a pot of some sort. But I wanted to add a little extra oomph to it this time, so I'm going to add go through my stash and add a cane basket with the pot of ivy that I have ready for this little area. I was talking through the fact that things are round and square, and just be conscious of what shape you are placing where. You don't want too many rounds or squares. A really nice balance, a little bit organic, natural, that is something that I really love to help clients with, is understanding the balance of shapes and finishes. Now, this is the plant that I would like to put in that spot. She is beautiful. She's had a great little winter. Now, I've put a few things out for them from my stash, just to be sort of like, you can use all sorts of different baskets. You can have like low ones with handles. This one here is really cool because it actually flips down into itself. So you can have like a bigger basket, or you could have like a softer low rider, as is this one, which I have painted over the years quite a few times because I wanted a pop of color somewhere. Now this one here, if I was to use this, I need to take out all of the artificial, but I do love this square roundy shape and the color of the basket. That is one of my favorites. It was a thrift find also. I also have these cute little round ones. Now I don't think that one's going to fit properly today, but it is something I will use. And in my stash of baskets is also like a typical basket that has a cute handle, and it has like a full section inside. So I could really put sort of some jars and things inside with some flowers if I wanted to somewhere, but probably not this one right now. So one of the biggest tricks I found over the years to keep your baskets and everything super safe and but still make them look like a planter as such is to make sure your plants, greenery, everything is in either glass with just a small amount of water, so when you place it in there's no splashing and nothing's falling out. I will also put in a towel in the bottom just to make sure, and if I'm using a pot, that it has a water catcher. Oh my gosh, where am I? A water catcher section at the bottom, so you can't overwater, and the water, well, you can overwater, but you shouldn't. So you can water it, the excess will go into the bottom here and not into the bottom of your beautiful baskets. Now, I also store all of the artificial flowers generally in like an old pillowcase to help them stay dust free for the season until we swap them back out. This cute little side table has done wonders around our home. I've had it in a few different places, and now that it is here, I really love it. I do swing the legs around a little just for a different look, which can be so interesting and helpful sometimes just to pop something in a different orientation. Now, this plant is absolutely loving life. She is so luscious, so green, and I'm really happy that I have a few pieces that I can sort of play with and have the light coming through, especially when the front glow sort of happens. It just looks so pretty and so fresh for the early parts of spring here. Something that I crave is the beautiful green in our living space. So let me know, do you like this pot plant in a basket idea? Now, number 3 for me is something really fun, and it's something I think I picked up many years ago when I was thrifting, and I found some really cool fabric, and I was sort of like, what shall I do with this? I want to use it. I want to be able to look at it essentially. And so I made a cushion, and eventually the fabric sort of went out of trend of this home. Our ideas changed, whatever. But I've always had a be on the lookout for cool fabric. Now, earlier this year, I was browsing around and saw that there was some really cool fabric tablecloths on sale, and so I bought up quite a few. Now, this is like 2.25 meters by 1.5 meters, so that's quite a lot of yardage, I suppose, for fabric. And I have had it in my mind to create a couple of cushions. P.S. Welcome to my chaos. The plan for this little DIY project is to create 2 cushion covers to recover 2 of my square cushions that are just not quite right for the season and the color palette that I'm currently running in our bedroom. So I decided to just basically do a single piece of fabric, fold it over a couple of times. As you can see here, I'm just ironing it out, making sure that the edges and everything are fairly straight. I do lots of little sewing projects and absolutely love it. Nothing is usually ever too hard or fancy for me. As you can see here, I'm just using the exact size of the cushion cover that I removed, the green one, and then placing the new piece of fabric over it and just folding it in the way that will allow me to pop in the insert without having to pop in any zippers or clips or anything like that. I've made cushion covers with like a folding part like this a couple of times, and they've worked really well. As you can see here, I'm just sort of showing you that there is an opening, and I will just basically sew all across the top and the bottom edges here and pop in the inserts. I moved my sewing setup out into a different space, so I had a bit more space to film and do everything. Normally I am on top of myself in my design studio, but today I thought I would spread out and jump into another space, which was kind of nice to have extra room for everything. As you can see, I'm just literally doing a straight stitch down each side. I have the insert ready to go, and this should be very straightforward for me, and it was, thankfully. Not too many hiccups. I did jump onto a YouTube video just to make sure that I was doing one of the folding parts correct and from memory, and it all worked out. It was great. I definitely like to do quick and easy sewing projects, something that I can do all within the day or half a day. For me, this took, I think, about 20 minutes from start to finish, really. And as you can see, pushing through the insert into the cushion cover, I now have 2 beautiful cushions for a new space. And the new space is our bedroom. This space is ever changing, as some of you would know. I change out the lamps, I change out the bed head fabric. The only things that stay the same are the artwork, really, and the white quilt covers. I love me a white, beautiful quilt. And the bedsides that hide everything with drawers. That is the bedroom basics for me. I really love this pattern. It's really pretty, matches sort of the vibe that I'm going for, with some more warmer, pretty tones. And so that is the 3 little DIYs: the cushion refresh, the beautiful planter in a cane basket that is super easy, but sometimes it just changes the way the pot feels and the plant hits with different tones and colors and textures. Something I really like to just mix up and do. Or was your favorite the vase quick paint DIY with some greenery? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.